the charger would click on and then click off, and click on, click off. I think it would do it 4 times, and then it would get a red light and it would say, you know, there's something wrong. So I went to Tesla. They pulled my codes. They said that my internal charger was bad and that it was going to cost $2,200 to fix. Okay, I already had the seats removed, but just to explain how you do it, you're going to have your base seat, and that has 2 clips, like one on this end and one on that end. You just got to pull up right there. Pull straight up. Don't pull to the sides, otherwise you could break it. So you pull that out. There's going to be a black cage in here. And then on the black cage, you're going to have a screw here, a screw here. You're going to have one back there, right there, right there, and right there. And then this seat belt also is going to be connected to that. So you're going to have to remove that. And then you're going to have the seats here, and there's this little thing here on both sides. I removed the side panel on the other one, but so what you're going to have to do is there's a little pin. So you got to pull the pin. You're going to have to push it out to you. And then, so there's 2 little pins that go in here. So you pull off this little plastic piece, and then once those get pulled out, these pins won't be holding it in, so then you can slide it up, and then you can take those seats out. So I already connected it, but what you want to do is you want to disconnect that negative terminal. You want to disconnect this. You do it by putting a little piece in here, and it pops out and then it pulls out, and you should hear your a click. Okay, so this is the Tesla main charger. I don't have the dual charger, but if you do have the dual slave, it's going to be over here. So this is your high power box. Then you want to undo these 4 screws down. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 right here. And the whole point of this is to slide this box over a little bit so that when you get in here, you can undo the side and get it off, because there's coolant that runs through, and you don't want to have to you know, I had to plug it all off and all that stuff. It's a huge pain in the butt. Then you want to come in here, you want to take off all these I think they're T25 or T30s. So you take off those bolts on top, the lid will open up, and they're inside. You'll see the source for this, and you'll see that. Those 2 are the ones we're going to want to take apart. But first, you want to double check that there's no current running through. So what you do is you take a voltmeter and you connect from this line to this ground wire, and then you connect to make sure there's nothing running through, and the bottom one to this. And then if there's no current running through, then connect your black to the bottom, red to the top, or vice versa, and just make sure there's no current running through. So, and then over here, you want to do the same. You want to undo this and undo that one. These things just pull right through. They're little springs that hold them in, so you pull that and get it out of the way. And then you need to undo. There's going to be 5 connections in here. There's going to be, it's like 2 reds. You want to unplug that. There's going to be a square red, like a beige color, and then a white color one, and then another one down here. So all those, to get them open, you just use a little screwdriver, push the pin, and kind of pull out with pliers. So once you have all that done, then you can just slide this high voltage box over. Then you got to come over here to this plug, undo that plug, you pull the white tab out, and then you can kind of just finagle it out. And then you'll be able to, you should be able to do the rest from my explanation on the bench and how this works. And so you know what I'm showing you on the bench, this side over here closest to the door is the side that has the 2 fuses. The fuses sit like right above that black line there. There's 250 amps, and chances are one of them is blown. You want to undo all these screws here. It's a T20, the hex ones, or the star ones, the T20s. So you take this off, and you'll see inside of here. Okay, chances are you'll probably have the same problem, because it's just some fuses that are blown. There's 250 amp fuses in here, but Tesla wants to replace the whole thing if it goes bad, which is a crock. So also there's T20s all along the edges here. So you need to take those all out. And then you need to undo these screws right here. There's going to be 2 screws right here that you might want to mark. You know, you take the screws out, and then I just put the screws back in there just for, you know, demonstration purposes. You have to undo this one, and this one. You just push down on the little tab right there and pull out. This one doesn't need to be pulled out, although I did anyways. That just connects to the board over here. So then you also need to take these out and these out. And then the cover should just lift right off, or the side. So just put that to the side. And what you need to get to is these fuses right here. These are the fuses right here. Mine, the bottom one blew, and so it was giving me that error. And as you can see, I'll try to show you my voltmeter. These are both the bad ones though. So you'll be able to know if they're good by taking your voltmeter to make sure to see if it's a circuit. So if you take them out and you set it on the setting, normally, you know, you get continuity, but like on this one, so the used one I bought also had a blown fuse. I didn't realize. So you see how there's no continuity. So you just test that right here. Which one does have continuity? You just go online, order the fuse. It's an it's a A50P54. They're like 20 bucks. So you just get that, you pull that out, and you just put the new one back in, and then you button it all up, and then reinstall it, and yeah, mine's working fine. I think this is the most common thing because the fuse will blow before, so it doesn't ruin any of the electrical components, but no need to replace the whole darn thing. You know, it's a $20 part versus $2,200 to have it replaced.